today, let's highlight this little clip from Trudeau and let's just have a little dig into what it takes for a young person to buy a house in 2024 in Justin Trudeau's Canada.
We're going to help you make your rent count towards you becoming a homeowner. We'll do that by making sure that the fact that you pay your rent every month, which remember is a pretty significant amount of money, that payment and that demonstrated reliability that you've shown over months and years is taken into account when you apply for a mortgage.
I was talking to my son the other day, and he's in his 20s, and he needs would like a house one day, maybe. Not while the Trudeau Liberal government are in power, though. There's no chance. He and me were talking about how the government were Freeland and Trudeau and Guilbeault and all their gang. They want to make your rental payments go towards your credit score, okay? But it's nothing. A credit score can go up or down a few points through nothing. The thing that nobody is talking about, and that me and him were talking about, is this: the GDS and the other one, TDS. So the GDS is the gross debt service ratio, which is your house, or what you pay in your housing, your rental, and your income. And it needs to be at least about a 40% ratio. The government want it to be under 39%. So for every $1,000 you earn, $400 has to go to, is the maximum they want you to go towards rent. Okay, so that we have to take that into account. But then we come on to the total debt service, which is your housing and everything, but that can come to 60%, okay, which is $600 out of $1,000 that you earn. But the government and the banks want that to be less than 44%, okay? So we got TDS and we've got GDS. That's something that people don't talk about. This is what the banks want you to have to go and get a mortgage. Now let's say you want to buy a house. How much is a house? Well, to buy a house in Toronto, you'd be looking at roughly $875,000. I know. And to buy that house, you would have to put a deposit down, and they would want roughly $175,000 for a deposit. There was a time when that deposit was the actual price of the house, not just the deposit. So how are young people supposed to get that as a deposit? So that will be $700,000 to pay off over 30 years now, because they want you to pay 30 years at 5%, which will be $3,750, roughly, approximately $3,750 a month to pay out, just to pay a mortgage. That's not even paying the bills. That's not paying the housing tax. That's not paying the gas bill. It's not paying for any improvements. It's not paying to fix up the kitchen or anything. So, but that's not the end of that, is it? Because on top of that, the government and the banks, they think that might be achievable, but they have the stress test. The stress test takes it to 7%. So they will push that 5% to 7%. And before you say, oh, you should have been around in the 80s, which I was around in the 80s, and I was paying 12, 15% interest on my mortgage, but houses were not $1 million almost. Houses were not that. Houses were the $175,000. So yeah, we could pay that little bit extra interest and still just about get away with it. Anyway, go back to this, because I know you're going to type that. I know you're going to say that. You're going to say, back in my day, we paid 15%. But it's not like that now. Houses are really expensive. You know that. Like cars, Teslas and things. They're really expensive. No wonder the government are dishing out money so you can buy your EV. Anyway, get back onto this. Where were we? For $700,000 mortgage, right, you're going to have to pay $4,650 a month. That's what they want you to be able to pay. They want to take it up to 7% on your stress test, because that's what they want you to pay. You would have to earn nearly $12,000 a month on that, to meet the 39% GDS that the government want you to meet up with. Do you know how much that is a year? Yeah, that much a year. My son earns about 40 to 50,000 a year. That is what he needs to earn to get a house. Just take a note of that, guys. That's what you need to earn to get a house as a young person in Canada today.
Nearly 2/3 of young Canadians rent their homes, and they spend a greater share of their income on housing than other generations. And in cities like Vancouver, where we are today, this is even more true. This is the most expensive city to rent in the country. Renters matter. And young Canadians put a lot of their hard-earned money towards rent. We think that should count for a lot more. So today we're announcing new protections for renters and new pathways to home ownership. As part of our upcoming budget, we're going to create a Canadian Renters' Bill of Rights. It would create a nationwide standard for lease agreements, give renters a clear history of apartment pricing so they can bargain fairly.
When he says that he's going to make rents fairer, and where the renter can negotiate, he can find out what the previous rent was and bring that to the front and talk to the landlord before he rents somewhere about how much he can negotiate the rent. Well, let's just say you've got a house or a basement to rent, and the landlord wants $2,000 a month, everything included. We got so many immigrants coming into Canada now. You think you're the only person going to be going for that, the only one going to be going for that rental? No, you're going to be in a line of 10 people. And let's say one of those 10 people says,
"Hey, look, I've just been looking through the old rental things, and you used to charge $1,000 a month 10 years ago. I'm willing to give you $1,200 a month. Will that be okay? Because Justin says I can say this."
their landlord's going to go, oh, so I've got 9 people to look at now then. Yeah.
And make sure they have more agency. We're also going to launch a new legal aid fund that will protect tenants against unfairly rising rents, rent evictions, and bad landlords. And finally, we're going to help you make your rent count towards you becoming a homeowner.
Yeah, we just covered that, Justin. Now, I'm not the greatest mathematician in the world, obviously, English education, but you're in charge of the country, and your Freeland lady, she's supposed to be the finance minister. She's supposed to know all these numbers and know how to do it. And this whole thing, this whole helping young people buy their houses and help young people onto the housing ladder, I'm calling it, it's bull poop. Yep, 100%. Anyway, it's enough of that.